Okay, so when I was in high school, I remember a lot of my friends went to summer camp, and usually that's like a middle school thing, but I guess my high school friends went to summer camp as well, which is kind of weird at the same time, but if you really think about it, it makes sense. But anyways, I remember my parents one time came up to me and said, hey, do you want to go to summer camp with you and your friends this year? And I was like in grade 10, you know, almost going to grade 11, but it was the summer of, and I really wanted to go. So I remember I told my parents, yeah, because, you know, what's the problem with summer camp, you know? At first, when I really thought about it, I thought it was gonna be weird and like band camp. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like basically where a bunch of weirdos go. Stereotypically, I'm saying. I don't know if it's all for all camps really. So I remember my parents actually signed me up for summer camp. Now, when I went to summer camp, it was pretty interesting to actually go there. Like I remember I got on the bus and we all headed down there, and I was sitting with some of my friends and stuff like that, and we were just chilling. But when me and my friends got to summer camp, I remember a lot of them already had friends that were like already hanging out and chilling there and stuff. So once again, as usual, I was kind of lonely there. So it sucked at first, but obviously, you know, I kind of just tried to make the best of it and try to make friends, I guess. Because if you guys don't know, I already hit puberty at this time, so I didn't look ugly. So obviously I could, you know, walk up to people and say, hi, how you doing? Not saying that ugly people can't do that, but I'm saying, you know, let's just say I had more confidence in myself than what I had back then. Anyways, I remember I saw a couple friends and I remember seeing them, you know, hang out with other people and stuff like that. And at first I was thinking about walking up to them, but I was nervous, so I decided not to. Then out of nowhere, I remember I was just walking around, just kind of chilling, and I saw this girl just sitting all by herself, kind of just doing her own thing. And the funny thing was that this girl was hot. Now, usually scientifically, from what I've seen in high school, hot girls don't be lonely. That's not like a thing I've ever seen. So if you're a hot chick that's alone, I don't know what you're doing wrong. Either you're super psycho or you're just lonely. I don't know. It's weird. So I remember I decided to walk up to her and I'm like, hey, like, what's up? And then she said to me, oh, hi. And little did I know she had like insane anxiety, and it was her first year of like going to a camp, same as me basically. And I remember we kind of like started talking and we started hitting it off. She was really cute. She was really hot, you know, like not really expecting to do anything. But to be honest, from what I heard from my friends, doing the devil's tango at camp was like trendy, I guess. I don't know. I saw a lot in the movies, but I guess we also have it in real life. I don't know. But going on, I remember we were talking, we were hanging out and stuff like that. And actually we got really close. Like I remember at night times we would message each other in our like cabins and we'd be like, how you doing? You know, all those cute text messages that you would go back and forth and basically, you know, act cute. And later on throughout the day, I remember how we were talking about, you know, hooking up. Now at first I was like, okay, like I'm kind of down, you know, let's try it. Let's, you know, like why not, you know, like I've been in that phase where I've done it before, like might as well, big man Bubba, let's go. But the funny thing was that she never did it before, so she was really iffy on it. So obviously, you know, straight out of the bat, I knew for a fact I wasn't gonna do the devil's tango. Like it was just a no-go. Like it was not gonna happen. But then I realized something pretty cool. So I remember the next morning, me and my friends all got breakfast together, and I saw her sitting with a group of friends. Now this is actually pretty interesting because I didn't know that she had a group of friends. Like I guess she made friends out of the blue. And I texted her saying like, oh, you made friends, that's awesome. And then she texted me that she was with her family members. So I guess she had family there, which is pretty interesting. And at first I was iffy about it, but then when I looked over at the table, I saw this dime. Okay, I saw this the hottest chick in camp. Okay, this girl was like a delicacy. Like I would literally put this girl on a pedestal and pray to her. I'm not actually going to do that, but you know what I mean. Like she was hot. Okay, she was hot. So I remember what I ended up doing was like, you know, asking like, oh, who's the person sitting like 2 seats away from you, through text. And she said, oh, that's my cousin. She's, you know, kind of cool, I guess. And little did I know, damn, I wanted her cousin more than her. So it was really awkward in this scenario because like at this point I was like, you know what, like ditch the girl and then just go for her cousin. But at the same time, you know, I didn't want to be cruel like that, but at the same time I was an F-boy at the time and I really did want it. So you know what, I was like, screw it, might as well, let's do it, go for the boys, winging it. So what I ended up doing was that I remember one time I saw her alone. Well, I was kind of stalking her cousin for a bit, which is weird, don't ever do this, but I was stalking her cousin for a bit and I saw her alone. And I remember I walked up and I'm like, hey, like how you doing? And I'm not even joking, when this girl was looking at me and staring at me, I was blushing like crazy. Like I haven't had this feeling since middle school. Like it was interesting, very interesting. So I remember I was like how you doing? Like, what's up? And this girl actually found me somewhat attractive, which was a shocker because I looked like this back then. So it was interesting to see her actually like, you know, somewhat attracted to me. And then we started talking and we got back and forth and it kept going and going on, stuff like that. But as I was like kind of talking and flirting with her, you know, it went back and forth. But then her other cousin, well, her friend that I was naturally going for, or her cousin that I was actually going for at first, came up to me and said, excuse me, what are you doing here? Now, this is where things got really awkward. Because, you know, she looked at me, I looked at her, and it was like the triangle circle, because she liked me, I liked her cousin. Her cousin is like actually, no, wait, that's Alabama. Never mind. Anyways, like I was saying though, so we were talking and it was like really awkward between all three of us. And then I remember one thing I ended up doing was I kind of like started like slowly moving away backwards, like those awkward scenarios. And then once I got to the door, I sprinted out of there like crazy. And when I sprinted out of there like crazy, I remember I was like trying to plan out what I wanted to do and stuff. And then for some reason, out of nowhere, she got my Snapchat. The hot cousin got my Snapchat, I should say. Now, this is where things got really interesting. So this was really cool in my opinion, because honestly, like having both hot girl Snapchats were like a W in camp. And I remember telling my friends like, damn, like I met this hot chick, like this is awesome, like let's go. And my friends were like really like iffy on it. And then one thing they told me was that the hot cousin, like, you know, she gets around. That's what they told me. So at that point, I'm like, okay, so this is gonna be a score. Like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the devil's tango with her. Like this is the W. So I remember I was snapping her cousin through Snapchat, and I was just talking to her and stuff like that, because she was hot, you know, it was awesome. And I remember she asked me, hey, what are you doing tonight? Now, fun fact about camp, you have to be in bed by at least 10 o'clock. Like 10 o'clock is like total shutdown, like don't go out, nothing. But I remember me and her wanted to sneak out together that night, and it was the best idea she ever gave me. Like I'm not even joking, I was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm gonna do this. And I remember laying in bed around 10 o'clock. I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here, I'm gonna go meet up with this chick, like let's go, that's a W. Anyways, from there on, I remember like right at like 10:30, I left my cabin. Like I sprinted out of there almost, but doing it quietly to the point where none of the boys heard me. And when I got out of there, I remember I straight up like ran to this thing called a tabernacle. Now, if you guys don't know what a tabernacle is, I don't know, we have like fun events in there and stuff. I don't know what else to really say. And when we got there, I remember instantly like I saw her there and she saw me, and we started talking and sitting on this couch that was there. And when we were talking and stuff, I remember she was like kind of getting close to me, and I got close to her, and little by little I realized that we ended up doing the devil's tango. And we were doing that like until like 5 in the morning. So we passed out there. It was a funny situation, you know. It was pretty good. Like I had a good time, you know. Like all I'm gonna say is camp was successful. Like I call that successful camp. But then the funniest thing happened. So the next morning, what ended up happening was that I ended up seeing her cousin, or the girl I was first flirting with, come through the door. Now this was the most craziest thing, because she didn't have a shirt on, I didn't have my pants on. It was a weird situation. But basically, I remember like we saw the door open to the tabernacle, and we got changed instantly. Like it was a snap, dude. Like we did it so quick, to the point where like we got dressed up really quickly, and then she walked in. She's like, what are you doing in here with my cousin? So she kind of walked in on us because she knew something was up. And she got so pissed off. I remember she literally grabbed her cousin by the wrist and said, you're not allowed to hang out with him anymore. Like, this is family rules. Like, you can't do that. Blah, 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 you know, whatever. And then me standing there, like, I felt bad because like she was staring at me with like such sadness. Like, as if it was like Romeo and Juliet from like, you know, like a sad part of the movie or whatever. Like how Capulets and Montagues can't be close together. I don't know. This is something I learned in English class. But anyways, so one thing that I realized was that, you know, she got put away. And I remember the camp counselor came up to me. So if you guys don't know, we had like a head camp leader, counselor, whatever, and she came up to me and said, hey, you do know you're not allowed to do that in this campsite. Like, we're going to have to send you home this weekend, and you can come back after the weekend. Like, it was like a 3-day suspension from camp, which is weird, but I guess it's a thing. So I got suspended for 3 days, and then 3 days later I came back and I realized that she went home as well for the next 3 days, just so they can like kind of keep us apart. And the rest of camp, we were like spread out and we weren't allowed to see each other. And then after camp, I realized that she, you know, I started having feelings for this girl, but after camp, I realized that she had a boyfriend the whole time. So that was a really awkward scenario, but we'll save that for another story time. And yeah, that's basically it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for making these videos go crazy. You guys are seriously helping me on all platforms. I love you guys, and like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories.